Hey you, yeah you, get over here for a sec. Come on. Don't be shy because I don't think you actually get it. What's really going on around you? Not the full picture, not the real punchline, not with that silent tornado spinning right behind your name like it's been building up forever. You strut around thinking you're just another nobody in the hallway, another face in the crowd, minding their own twisted little business. Meanwhile, and here's where it gets funny, you got zero clue how many heavy hitters are clocking your every move, mapping your decisions, whispering about your potential like it's some classified secret they're terrified to say out loud. You think you're invisible? That's the joke, isn't it? That's the punchline you missed. You're the only one still buying that story. Everyone else already clocked the shift. They already feel that unsettling electric energy that trails you wherever you drag yourself. They've been studying how you move, how you bounce back, how you somehow keep crawling forward even after life unloaded on you with things that should have absolutely wrecked you. They're confused, bothered, low-key impressed, threatened, inspired. Sometimes all five at once. Messy little crowd, aren't they? Sighs. And here's the part that really gets me going. Powerful people don't waste their time watching just anyone. They don't analyze someone who's predictable. They don't study someone who blends into the wallpaper. They don't sit in the dark running their calculations on somebody forgettable. No. They watch the ones who make them nervous without even trying. They watch the survivors, the ones who went through things that should have shattered them into 1,000 pieces and somehow didn't. They watch the ones who move like they're carrying a secret the rest of the world hasn't cracked yet. That's you. And you don't even see it. Isn't that delicious? You ever walk into a room and catch that tiny little shift in the air? Clears throat, like conversations drop off for half a beat. People recalibrate their vibe. Some of them straighten up, others snap their eyes away real fast, like they weren't just staring a hole through you. And you're standing there thinking, why is everyone acting so weird today? Sighs. Oh, that's rich. It's not them, it's you. It's that presence you haul around without even asking for it. That unexplainable crackling intensity. High-level players, the real ones. They read energy before they read resumes. They recognize survival before they recognize success. They recognize someone who can't be snapped before they ever check your receipts. They've been watching you because you represent something they can't put in a spreadsheet. Something that doesn't compute on paper, something that by all logic shouldn't exist. But here you are, still breathing, still moving, chaos with a pulse. And let's get real for a second, shall we? Your road hasn't exactly been a stroll through the park, has it? You weren't handed anything. You had to rip opportunities out of life's hands with your bare teeth. You didn't get a support system, you became your own. Nobody understood you, so you had to build your own clarity from scratch, brick by brick in the dark. And the irony? Oh, this is the part I love. The same clowns who looked right through you are now watching you like you're some rare exhibit. They suddenly need to understand. Hilarious, right? High-status eyes couldn't care less about your backstory. They're locked in on your trajectory. They don't care where you started. They care where you're headed. And lately you've been moving in a direction that has mediocre minds absolutely shaking and powerful ones leaning forward in their chairs. You stepped into a lane that was never written for you, and you made it yours anyway. You moved with purpose during stretches where you had absolutely no clue what you were doing. And yet somehow you still looked like you had the whole map memorized. That is what snagged their attention. You know what else they clocked? How you never implode in public. How you don't rant on Maine. How you don't go begging for validation like some kind of approval addict. How you don't explain yourself to people who don't have the processing power to understand. You just keep going quiet, locked in, unbothered. People in high places, they admire that. They fear that. They respect the rarity of it because they know how many people fold way before the finish line. And yet here you are holding yourself together with nothing but raw willpower and that quiet fire burning behind your eyes. Mad respect. Sighs. And let me drop something on you that might make your chest do a little flip. Some of those high-status people aren't just spectators. They're waiting on you. Waiting to see your next play. Waiting to see if you rise or if you retreat. Waiting to see if you step into the version of yourself they've already sensed coming. And you still think nobody notices. The universe didn't hide you. It was setting the stage, building the tension, letting the curiosity marinate, creating the silence before the explosion. Because the truth is, people at the top can feel when someone is about to break through. They sense a shift long before it becomes visible to everyone else. And you've been walking around like a living plot twist that hasn't dropped yet. They know your story isn't regular. They know there's a chapter coming that nobody is prepped for. Some of them are rooting for you. Some of them are low-key hoping you fumble. But all of them, every single one, have got their eyes on your path. It's not quiet out there. It's not empty. It's not unnoticed. There are eyes on you from angles you can't even imagine. People in rooms you've never stepped foot in are discussing you like a wild card they can't predict. Individuals with serious clout trying to figure out how someone like you came out of nowhere carrying this much intensity. And yeah, maybe you don't feel special right now. Maybe you don't feel powerful. Maybe you look in the mirror and see absolutely nothing extraordinary staring back. But that's exactly why they're watching. Because you're real in a world drowning in masks. You're raw in a world addicted to performance. You're unpredictable in a world full of scripts and autopilot. And you're rising in a world where most people are just staying put, comfortable, stagnant, safe. Sighs. Your path is being observed because your presence disrupts the whole narrative. Your name is getting noted because your existence challenges what people thought was possible. Your energy is being trapped because it straight up doesn't fit any mold they've got on file. You think you're just trying to survive, but they're watching you like someone who might take over the whole board and you still have zero clue. Oh, that's my favorite part. Your smallest decisions are getting put under a microscope by people who don't make a single move without calculating it 6 times. But you move on, raw instinct, unpolished, unpredictable, and it throws them off every single time. You ever notice how sometimes you take a step you didn't even consciously plan and somehow it lands perfectly? That's the part they can't decode. High-status minds run on patterns, formulas, predictable behavior. But you're chaos with direction. You make moves that look accidental, but hit with surgical precision. You shift the whole atmosphere without saying a single word. What they don't get is that your power didn't come from comfort. It was forged in survival. You built your backbone in silence. You built your resilience in the pitch black. You built your confidence by walking through situations that would have swallowed most people whole and spat out the bones. And when someone gets forged like that, they don't move through the world the same way anymore. You carry history in your eyes. You carry battle scars in your posture. You carry stories nobody will ever fully know, and yet everyone can feel something when you pass by. Isn't that wild? Deep down, you've always known you weren't built for some quiet, small, simple little life. Not because you were chasing the spotlight, but because life kept throwing you experiences that didn't match someone ordinary. Life kept posting you up in situations where you had to step up, think sideways, react fast, grow overnight. Life kept walking you to the edge over and over until standing at the edge became your default setting. Your comfort zone became the place most people refuse to go near. People in high places respect edge walkers. They pay attention to anyone who doesn't collapse under pressure. They study anyone who can thrive in the uncomfortable zones because they know those are the ones who end up rising the highest. And here's a truth you've probably never let yourself fully sit with: size. You intimidate people who have more status than you, but less strength, more money than you, but less resilience, more connections than you, but less purpose. They watch you because they feel something in you that they lost in themselves a long time ago. You represent a hunger they no longer have. Music and singing, a courage they once needed, an authenticity they traded away for comfort. You shake their certainty. You disrupt their predictability, and they cannot look away. You ever wonder why certain people act sketchy around you for absolutely no reason? Why some people treat you like a threat when you haven't done a thing? Why you feel tension in spaces you didn't create? Laughter and snorts. It's because your presence exposes the truth. Your existence forces people to face their own limitations. Your energy reminds them of who they've been pretending to be. And high-status people aren't immune to that. In fact, they feel it even harder. Size. They can sense when someone is moving with a trajectory that doesn't match where they're currently standing, and you're moving like someone who's about to leap, not step, leap. They're observing your path because they know once you unlock your next level, once you stop lowballing yourself, once you stop second-guessing your voice, once you stop shrinking your presence down to make other people comfortable, you're going to walk into rooms you never even knew existed. You're going to rise in ways that flat out refuse to be denied. You're going to become the person your past worked overtime to stop you from becoming. And that is exactly why they're watching. They're studying the moment right before the transformation, the breath before the breakthrough, the pause before the quiet voice in your head finally goes, "Wait. Everything I survived, it wasn't random, it was preparation." People with influence are observing you because your story isn't running on the standard arc. It's building tension like something massive is about to unfold. You think you're unnoticed, unimportant, just living your life, getting through the day, but you're actually a conversation piece, a rising variable, a developing force, a potential that nobody has successfully categorized yet. They're not watching you because you're small. They're watching you because something in you is getting ready to erupt. And the wildest part, you're still out here tiptoeing around like you're trying not to bump into anybody while your entire aura is screaming. Disruption, transformation, elevation, lauder. You ever stop mid-afternoon and feel that weird pressure in your chest like something is rearranging, but you can't quite name it? That's not anxiety. That's your life doing construction behind the scenes. Your path widening. The universe clearing space for a version of you that you haven't had the nerve to step into yet. High status eyes can sense that before you can, and you're carrying momentum that doesn't match your current environment, presence that doesn't match your current circumstances, potential that is way above the floor you're standing on, and they feel that mismatch intensely. That's why some of them stare longer than they should. That's why certain influential people suddenly go cold or awkward or weirdly obsessed with the smallest things you do. You think you're just existing, but you're actually influencing. You think you're just surviving, but you're actually leading. You think you're just figuring things out, but you're actually leading. You think you're just figuring things out, actually inspiring people who will never admit it. Isn't that a riot? There are people with status, connections, rep, and real influence, watching the way you keep putting one foot in front of the other, even when you're running on empty, even when you're lost, even when you feel completely alone. They study how you didn't fold, how you didn't quit, how you didn't let the world have the satisfaction of breaking you, because they know strength when they see it. And nothing pulls the gaze of powerful people like someone who simply cannot be easily broken. Sighs and gasps. They see how you operate without a safety net, how you think for yourself, how you don't chase approval, how you don't perform for anyone. Do you understand how rare that is? People in elevated spaces aren't fascinated by perfection. They're fascinated by authenticity, by grit, by someone who keeps rising without waiting for permission. You're being observed because you represent a different breed. Someone who didn't get their confidence from praise. Someone who built everything internally in their own silence, in their own dark. The way you walk like you've survived things that don't even have names. The way you talk like you've tasted consequences and kept your dignity anyway. The way you look at the world like you know exactly how dark it gets and still choose to keep going. You're unpredictable. You're resilient. You're unboggled by fear. You're not starstruck by status. You don't need anyone's validation to keep moving. That makes you dangerous in the absolute best way. Lauder? Some of them admire you. Some of them envy you. Some of them are low-key, terrified of what you might become. But all of them, every single one, are paying attention. Sighs and gasps. And here's what should really mess with your head. You're only operating at maybe 10% of what you're actually capable of right now. Barely warming up. Sighs. And even that tiny fraction is shaking people who built their whole identity around being unshakable. You're not even in your final form, not even close. And you're already disrupting people who spent years stacking their status, their reputation, their networks, their brand, while you're just out here trying to get through Tuesday. Sighs. You exist in this strange in-between space. Quiet but powerful, humble but intimidating, lost but purposeful, conflicted but somehow perfectly aligned. People in high positions don't have a box for you. You're the type who forces other people to question themselves without saying a word. The type who accidentally exposes the cracks behind other people's confidence. The type who accidentally successful people stop and think, what did this person survive? Where does that energy come from? You know how rare that is to unsettle the settled. Lauder. And here's one final thing. One last piece of the punchline. Lauder. Some of the people watching you don't even know why they keep coming. Back to your story. They just feel something pulling them toward your path, something they can't logic their way through. It's instinct, it's recognition. They recognize the kind of person who rises slowly, then all at once. You're not the type who explodes, you're the type who builds pressure so quietly that one day people look back and go, wait, when exactly did they become unstoppable? That's why you're being observed. Not because you're failing, not because you're lost, not because you're weak, but because something in you has been waking up. Hunger, a focus, a sharpness, a calmness in the chaos. A confidence that's not loud, but absolutely undeniable. You're going to outgrow this whole environment. You're going to blow past every expectation placed on you. You're going to rise higher than everyone who counted you out. And they're watching the exact moment right now before all of that becomes obvious even to you. You haven't even woken up to your own gravity yet. Still moving like someone who's scared to disturb the room. While the room is already rearranging itself around you, still doubting yourself. While they're analyzing your every micro move like it's data from a once-in-a-lifetime phenomenon. So, the only real question left, the only thing that matters is this. Sighs and gasps. When are you going to stop watching yourself the way they do? Because the moment you do, oh, that's when the real show begins.